This should be a fairly short video. I'm not going to do like a full teardown video or whatnot of this thing. This is an HP Zbook. It's a workstation. It has a Quadro P600 in it and whatnot, so it's going to be perfect for 3D printing tasks. Now, I got it all set up, but it does have its issues. The keyboard and the trackpad need to be replaced. And unfortunately, to do that, you gotta buy a whole new, palm deck and whatnot. So that's what I've done. So I'm just going to put all the parts in there, or put the parts, swap parts and whatnot, and hopefully have a fully working HP Zbook again, so I can actually use it for my 3D printing and whatnot. Now again, I'm not going to do like a full teardown of this thing or whatnot. I just want to kind of just document generally what's going on so I can have something on my channel as I'm waiting for my 3D printer to do its 3D printing things, or mostly I'm just holding off on getting some filament right now because I don't have any money yet. In hindsight, I should have also bought some thermal paste, but whatever. It'll work just fine. I just gotta make sure I don't touch the thermal paste I already have on this thing when I go to pull it off, and it will work. I have done it before and I know it will work, but I'll eventually need to fully swap out the paste, but I want to at least get this thing up and running again. Alrighty, so let's see if this thing does anything. Well, we still got a power light, that's good. Reflections up the wazoo, but that's to be expected. It will take a little while to fire up. I'll actually pause and come back when it actually shows something on the display. Alright, well, the screen's still working at the very least. The enter key is working at the very least. I'll be able to hit enter, so it's going to reboot one more time. I should be able to get to the desktop. Alright, and we're at the desktop. Apparently it was in a save state, so if I hit enter, enter again. Okay, so the keyboard seems to be working. The mouse pad is also working. That synaptic pad sucks. But it looks like we have a fully working computer now. I just gotta get used to the everything else. Yep, I fixed my laptop. Just acquired a new keyboard deck and whatnot. But yeah, this trackpad sucks. Then again, it is a synaptic pad, and I don't think I even have the drivers installed on top of that. So, or is it one of those other? I think it's this guy right here. These pads are even worse. So let's see if this is the actual trackpad I'm using or not. Oh yeah, it is. These ones are even worse. Or at least I have some way to kind of modify this thing into where it can be a little more manageable, but holy crap, I forgot how bad these trackpads are. Oh boy, reflections. Ain't nothing I knew about that. With that said though, I'm going to let this heat soak for however long I see fit. As you can tell, the frame rate's pretty atrocious. This is a P600 Quadro, so it's not really meant to do this. But at least it's something I can do to stress test the computer to an extent, make sure everything's working, make sure temps are fine and whatnot. And when it comes to this thing, I'm going to let it heat soak for 30 minutes or so. And that's because I want to do like a semi bed level to make sure everything's working right again. And after that, this thing's probably going to be shut off for a little while because I don't have any actual filament I do want to use. I have eSun stuff and I have like a few sun loop pieces. The eSun stuff works, but it likes to string out the nozzle and whatnot, and that can mess everything up. So I'm not going to deal with that. I do have some Sunloop stuff, but it's the 2.0 stuff, and that 2.0 stuff really doesn't print well. I might try to print with it just to see what will happen. If I can find a profile in Bamboo Studio, I should, after I kill that fly. But for now, I'm just going to be just letting this thing sit for a while. Another thing I do want to mention about this printer is you have to let this thing heat soak not just when you're bed leveling, but before you do a print. It's just because of how big the heat bed in this thing is. It is warping for 30 odd minutes until it gets equilibrium. And even though it's warping just by very small amounts, those small little amounts are enough to mess a print up if it warps too far. So I just wanted to explain how this printer works and why I'm letting it heat soak for a bit. Now I'm going to try and find that fly and kill it. Alright, a little bit of time has passed, and the temps are, but you really can't see them, they're like in the 150s, 160s and whatnot, well within check. Now obviously this is just hitting the GPU, so I'm actually going to play like Sims on this thing, a just more demanding game because it's both the CPU and GPU. This thing will actually play Sims. I used to be able to do that, but even with the keyboard and deck pad I used to originally have on this thing, so it is doable. Alright, so far so good. Sims 4 is doing Sims 4 things. The printer is doing its things. I really didn't really do much in the way of leveling, but it was a good idea to do it anyway since I already did a few prints. I also have it in set to pro mode, that way so it does proper bed leveling and whatnot. So with that said, I actually found a profile for my Sunlu PLA Plus 2.0 craft, so I'm going to be able to continue printing with that. And what I actually learned is that I actually had it set to ESUN when I was initially printing off my parts for my Reach sniper rifle. And yet it printed off completely fine, go figure. But I know this 2.0 stuff from Sunlu is a little wonky. So I'm still going to use it because I have it and I want to try it out in this thing. But the printer's doing its thing, computer's doing its thing, so I'm just gonna let both these just do their things, and I'm gonna monitor my Sims so they don't kill themselves. But I'm more or less just gonna be hands off and just let them do whatever they want. Excluding when they inevitably set the house on fire. That'd be the closest to zero I've ever seen this printer be at, so I'm obviously saving it. So with that said, I'm going to let this do its thing for a little while longer. I sent all the other ones off to do their thing, so it's just my dumb self doing my dumb self things. Alright, when it comes to the laptop here, I think I'm going to call it. I have fully revived all its issues, and why is Sims doing this? I'll deal with that later. But the laptop itself is working, trackpad's working, keyboard's working, and of course I got all sorts of notifications and bull crap. But with that said, let's see what happens. Does the light work on the keyboard? Yes, it does. That was actually the last thing I needed to test. But yeah, everything is working as intended, and I have resolved or I've fixed my HP Zbook, and now I can actually use it for my 3D printer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let this thing fully cool off for a little while, then I'm going to shut off, and then I'll eventually get back to doing a print on this thing. But for right now, I just want to leave it alone for a bit because again, I am still a little skittish of this of this 3D printer, even though I know it is more or less working. It's just so big, so massive that I'm just still a little, again, skittish of using it, even though I already got a few good prints off of it. But again, the main part of this video was the HP printer, or HP Zbook, and it's working completely fine. And before I forget, here are the specs of it. It has an 8th generation i7, 6-core 12-thread. I currently have 16 gigs in here, though I may want to put more in here, maybe 32. And again, the Quadro P600, which is a Quadro, so it's kind of cool that I can even run Sims in the first place, but then again, Sims kind of can run on potatoes, so it's not out of the question. But yeah, I'm happy I fixed my laptop, and now I can actually use it for my 3D printer and whatnot.